Friends, family, fans, we are back with another episode of Back Nine Bets with two guests this week. Celebrating Cristobal del Solar, I got my main man, Jim Cummings, on the show to break down the first round leader market for the U.S. Open. What's up, Jim?
What's going on, man? Glad to be here. It is insane that you hit Del Solar. Insane. There is something in the water in Canada, and I told you that last week. Skins live last year for me, and you've been hammering Cristobal all year, and you had the guts to stick with it when things got bad. So congrats to you, man. 300 to 1, 600 to 1. Who cares,
buddy? It was I said to you as well, like I've been betting him to win 10 units like I do for pretty much every first round leader market I kind of bet on. I just had a weird feeling this is the week. So we went for the 100 unit water into wine play. We are drinking a neighborhood beer today. So no water into wine, just good friendly vibes going on with my main man, Jim, on the show. As always, this is brought to you by Play Profit X. Use code FG Degenerates over there to get yourself 1.5% back on all of those things. There's some numbers that are already delightful out there today. We got some placement markets for the US Open, and you can find better numbers out there than most books provide. So use that to make sure that you're getting the best numbers out there. And, it's peer-to-peer, so you're not getting juiced. You're getting great metrics there. You're getting great matchup markets, all of that stuff for you guys. And then also, if you're in the mood for any of the stuff I show you on the screen tonight, all my Model Maniac Patreon stuff is 50% off for the first year or month if you use code PEW50, because we got the church pews and we are pew, pew, pew. So episode 143, we are beginning. Let's chat a little bit about Oakmont Country Club. Jim Cummings, what's your overall take on the course, this Tuesday evening?
It is going to play tough. We've seen it in the videos. It's just going to eliminate 90% of the field. I don't know how to say anything else other than that. I think we'll have a few outliers, but the cream's going to rise. And that's why we bet the first round leader market, because it's a little bit more volatile, especially in a week like this.
Absolutely. I'm kind of leaning a little more accuracy over distance, but I'm not ruling guys out that have distance. If you're a good driver of the golf ball, I'm totally cool with that. If you can dial in your irons from 200 plus, we are totally cool with that. And just, having good short game in pretty much for weeks like this, I use strokes gained majors. It levels the playing field versus the live guys, the PGA Tour guys, DP World Tour guys. If you've played in majors, I'm using your strokes gained from those majors, because there is definitely an experience factor going on when you play in majors. Look at Waco Neiman, I think we can probably chat about him at some point, because he's now got his first top 10 in like 25 starts. Majors are a different beast, and people drive the ball differently in majors. They hit their irons differently in majors. They do short game in particular, the nervy stuff. That's where the metrics get real different. So I've been using strokes gain majors for all of that stuff. And that's how I go about kind of modeling this week. And what's your process, Jim, when it comes to picking a first round leader? Because you how many have you hit this year, by the way? You've got to tell the people that don't know who you are on X who exactly is on the screen right now.
I keep a track, but I don't keep a track. So let me take a peek.
Well, while you're counting past 6,
It's 7. Currently 8 if we include Corn Ferry Tour.
My man, that is so impressive. So tell us no trade secrets, but give us the general background there.
I started this probably around 2022, 2023, and found myself having success and just stuck with it. And if you're a casual gambler, that's one thing I'll stress. 1 is bankroll management, and 2 is just sticking to what works. It's hard enough to go chasing and tailing people, and I'm all for the people that jump on, but these are my picks. I'm glad to have you, but I also hear the fake numbers, and before the week started last week, I got shouted out for being ice cold and not sharp. So, we're not going to hit every week, but we're good for the year now. And I know you're back in the green now too. I mean, you had been struggling and so transparent with it. And I had talked to you in chats, and I just knew it was coming for you. You put the work in, and not a better person to see that hit last week. And your third round leader live in Manacero too. So really, really great week, and it couldn't happen to a better guy.
Thank you. I'm going to burn down the 17th hole in TPC Toronto because that cost me 2 chops.
Oh, it was brutal. And I know you were playing golf, and I was playing golf last year when I hit skins. I knew it was going to hit. I was just praying for the chop to not happen. And for him to par the last was just so brutal.
But that's where each ways are really nice, Jim, because I made 65 units off of a 100-unit play, even with a 50% chop, so that each way pays out entirely for that situation, which is nice.
Did you have an each way on Rose at the Masters first round leader?
No, because I bet it on.
That's why you were
FanDuel.
tempted to cash out.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
Yeah.
So here's a little bit of what I do. I run models. Rick Run Good. I'm drawing a blank on Mayo's Fantasy
National.
Fantasy National, Data Golf. I do all. I use all of them regularly. I look at course history pretty strongly, and I look at current form. And I've done this so long that I have spreadsheets for each tournament. Of course, this year it seems like we've got 6, 7 new tournaments, and these are the hardest ones to come into and predict the first round leader. So, we've hit the Masters, which is the consistent major, but now we really have to get to work with these outlier fields that we see every 10 years or so. So I build out an initial list of anywhere from 20 to 25 guys, and then run the models on current form. I then sit around and I look at weather before tee times come out, but then I wait for the weather to come out. And I'm historically a early wave guy, and it bit me last week, and I'm okay with it because I'd rather be focused on one side than be all over the place. I've got all of my concentration on the AM wave, which is just, it's worked. It's right. It's wrong. I go through lulls. It is what it is. So the biggest thing is the numbers. Last week I had Norgard Moeller at, I can't remember the number, but it was 100 at least, or 90.
Yeah.
And he probably wouldn't have made the card, and he was early. He probably wouldn't have made the card otherwise, but sometimes those numbers just pop and get you. But like this week, my first play, and I've shared it on X, was Lowry, and we'll get to it in a minute.
Yeah.
Great course history here back in 2016. Great form coming in, other than Sundays.
Which is not a first round leader problem.
Yeah, good first round. So it was easy to bet him before tee times came out. I locked it at 50. I knew it would go down. And even before the no sweat started working on FanDuel, it was gone for me by the time I got back to it. So I knew it was going to go, and I knew I had to bet it. So, and then I just kind of,
Jim, yeah. When it comes to betting during the week, how much do numbers shrink once the tee times are released? Have you noticed that there's a definite drift towards the AM PM side, or the PM AM side?
And here's another positive side of betting AM. If somebody goes out and goes low, and you've got a couple guys that you love in the PM, but it's not really how you want to attack it, and you come up blank and you've got $10 laying around, you can attack a David Skins 500 to 1 just because you're crazy, or a Jackson Suber, or some of those guys who spike Cristobal. So during the week, FanDuel and 365 are pretty volatile. Bet Rivers kind of holds pat, and FanDuel and DK kind of coincide with each other. But once the tournaments start, if your guy birdies the first hole, he's 20-1, he's 15-1. It's not even worth betting it if you don't have it. So you've got to get on it. And for this week, with the difficulty of Oakmont, I think separation is going to be hard. So for all my bets that aren't each ways, I've bet T5, including ties. I think that's important this week. And that's something, if you follow me, I don't do very often. But I did want to stress to everyone on here that it's probably a good idea.
Yeah, because like you mentioned, I think we're going to see my one concern, you know, everyone's pretty much aware if they've watched the Mayo shows that we're betting Scotty first round leader top 10. And my one concern is the putters just coming out there. This is a course that I think is so damn difficult that if you gain 5 or 6 strokes on the greens, you know, it's going to be a lot easier to gain like that many strokes on the greens and around the greens than it is like ball striking. I don't think we're going to see someone just dismantle the field ball striking wise. You know, I think it's so difficult that you're going to have to make the putts because your irons aren't just going to get close enough, you know. So that's the one concern I have, but I think he's the one person that can do it ball striking wise that we're going to kind of have to just really hope he can do, because he's like Shane Lowry, you know. Shane's a great ball striker, very underrated.
Yeah, do we want to jump in on Shane?
Yeah, let's chat about Shane.
So this week I've used some course comps for the round market, and it's nothing secret. Brookline, Winged Foot, Philly Cricket as a normal new rotation course. Those are the courses I leaned on pretty hard. And I looked at Riv a little bit. I didn't put too much weight on it, but I thought the putting and some of the scoring when it's played hard in the past is pretty comparable. Northeast courses that play hard and demanding from tee to green. You know, that's what we're going to get.
And I think a little bit of Murfield as well. You know, I think that's not
terrible. Yes, for sure. I left Memorial off my notes here, but yes, Memorial was, and you'll see it through all my write-ups here. Memorial is something I leaned on very heavily as well. If we want to jump into Shane, like I said, I clicked this before, and you know, it got better when the tee times were released. Shane, a Euro guy who keeps with the Euros and stays away from the American guys, paired with Rosie and Rory. Shane in his happy place. So on top of that, obviously he finished T2 in 2016 here, 68, 70, 65 in round 3, 76 on Sunday. Hey, Shane, that's you. Should have been in the running and probably should have won, especially if DJ, who knows if DJ would have been assessed the penalty stroke if Shane was sniffing. But he can do it here. We've seen it. And not many guys can translate from 2016 to 2025 and still be relevant. And he's won, and especially with his form. But in addition to that, T2 at Philly Cricket a few weeks ago, 64, 65, 67, 70. Got worse as the week went on. He's got a decent history at Memorial. Nothing great. He got T4 in the first round leader market at Memorial, though, which raised my ears. And then, like I said, him playing with Rory is awesome. Throw Rosie in there. It's just more good vibes. So that was pretty much a no-brainer.
When you're looking, you're not really that honed in on like round 1 strokes gain stuff. You're kind of just looking for guys that typically spike. Just, you know, you mentioned the 65 here last year in round 3, which is exciting for you. You know, like to me, I'm more of a I kind of zone in on the first round leader stuff a little too much, probably, you know, whereas I should probably kind of incorporate a bit more spike potential involved there. And just to clarify, people, this is Jim Cummings, the first round leader king. Everything that we're showing with the odds out here are for first round leader markets. Once Jim's off, we're going to be chatting about everything for the full tournament after there with Keith Stewart. So that'll be that part of the show. So
yeah, nobody's here for my outrights.
No, well, you're not terrible in those either, but you are definitely the guy when it comes to first round leaders. Shall we get to the man, the myth, the legend, who might land up winning a major if he tees off on a Sunday morning? And his name is Tommy Fleetwood, Jim. You've got him for a first round leader market at 45-1. I think it's a perfect market for him.
Yeah. And recent form, check. Tommy, overall form, check. Early performance, check. Fade on the weekend, check. I checked all these prices at the end of the afternoon, and I think Fleetwood's still live, DK and Caesars. Am I okay to announce the books?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Play Profit X is what beats those books. So
yeah.
You can pop those out there. You know, that's what we're trying to promote over here.
Yeah. So, and that's paired with a first round leader T5 ties paid in full. And I think that was 750, 7.5 to 1. Tommy T4 at Philly Cricket, 68, 68, 67, 65. I believe he's had 4 appearances at, and I'm probably confusing him. His last 2 appearances at Memorial, T16, T20. That's enough for me to say, hey, meeting the criteria. His strokes gained, approach, off the tee, and total have been amazing for the past 6 tournaments. And his putting at cricket was really what reeled me in. I mean, you get to the initial list, and you got to choose. You like all the guys, and you got to choose.
Tiebreak.
You know, you got to choose the tiebreak because you can't bet them all. And I'm really surprised Tommy hasn't played better in some of these U.S. Opens, but the variance we get in these tough tracks, I guess, just leads to it. So what does Tommy love to do more than anything, though? Make pars. And I think that's going to go a long way tomorrow or Thursday and the whole week. So I don't have him outright, but at that price, 45-1, no brainer.
Yeah. And, you know, I think he's not a prototypical US Open guy. I totally agree with Brian Kirshner. You need distance off the tee at pretty much every major US Open venue. This is Oakmon Country Club. It's a different beast. You know, I think it's a unique situation where you're going to need to keep your ball in the fairway. I think Tommy does that very, very well, you know.
As a person who has also had a little Twitter beef with BK, I'm glad to hear that y'all have squashed it. And I know it was a joke, but BK did not like me using my profit boosts on my outright. So I've learned the lesson and I've fallen in line. I might use them, but I'll still list the market price for everybody.
Yes.
Love
Use
you,
the
BK.
boosts. They are all out there. They're available for you. And the people that we are encouraging to bet need to use those because they help you stay afloat. You don't want to keep loading up funds every goddamn week because golf betting is difficult. And sometimes if you're betting the first round leader market, you need to have a big week and it waits 5 or 6 weeks sometimes till you hit, you know. So making sure you utilize your bankroll is important. So speaking about bankroll, speaking about bankers, speaking about banking on himself to make the Ryder Cup team is Keegan Bradley at 60-61 for you, Jim. I also like a Keegan Bradley first round leader.
Yeah.
I'm in on you on this one.
Keegan was on Bet Rivers at 66-1. 7 places this week for the majors. We see that at most majors, and sometimes we see it at the players as well.
Yeah.
So the Bet Rivers bets, I don't have ties paid in full, but the 7 places kind of gives me that insurance that I feel like, you know, unless we get 10 guys tied at T5, you know, I can live with that.
And I'm just going to interrupt you real quick. Sorry. With 7 places versus ties paid in full, you can now, if someone finishes T4 or T5 with 3 or 4 other guys, call it 8 total people inside the top 5, that top 5 is paid out entirely. When it's ties not paid in full, they're going to take, depending on the book, they're going to take those 4 guys that kind of get you over the top 5 market, and they're going to slash the price by however many people are over the top 5. So if there's 8 people tied for T4, 4 people tied for T4, 8 people inside the top 5, you're going to have that chopped significantly. So the T7
Criminal.
market helps a lot. Criminal. Is that what's he saying?
It's even worse when you chop the first round leader, as you saw last week.
Yes.
They take half your money, and it's hard enough to pick them.
Yeah.
I don't love it, but it's the world we live in. So we play their game.
Okay. Talk to me about Keegan.
Yeah. Keegan also is playing with Fleetwood in English, who may or may not be our next pick on the first round leader card. And I love that grouping. I think it's the 7-18 threesome is just going to be such a good time on Thursday. Keegan's ball striking has been immaculate. And if he can take the putter with him, it's Keegan. If he can take the putter with him, he can contend not only in the first round leader market for the week, but for the outright tournament. I love that we're in the Northeast. Northeast POA is his jam. He missed the cut at the Masters on the number. And before that, he hasn't missed a cut since the Open Championship. 19 of 20 events. He won the PGA. That's easy to say. T30 at Philly Cricket, but shot a 64 on Thursday. And you were talking how you hone in on the first round leader market. I do look at first round leader scoring, but I look at individual round scoring as well. And I think that is, if we're doing 100%, it might be, depending on the week, 10, 15 round versus first round versus any individual round. So, there's some luck involved here. I'm not going to pretend to be some wizard. I've been very fortunate. I've gotten lucky a lot of times. Look at Jackson Suber. He had the first round leader wrapped up a few weeks ago. I can't remember the tournament, but he blew it. And I'm glad he did, because I was hammering him earlier in the year. And I think he's a great first round leader candidate at driver heavy courses like Mexico and now the Canadian Open at Toronto. But there's some luck, and that's why you strike out so much. And I've got no problem striking out. That's why you maintain your bankroll and just ride it out until we get another winner.
Yeah, baby.
So
I totally agree.
In addition to that, Keegan's playing for the Ryder Cup. He might not say he is out loud, but he's an alpha man, and he wants to play. He's been passed up on so many times. Not only is this his opportunity to take it home for us, but this team isn't very inspiring right now. And he probably should be on the team if he continues his form.
I couldn't agree more, man. I think he's going to make the team. It's going to happen, because we're going to Travelers next. He could win that bad boy again, and then he's right. We're talking business. So I'm a big believer in Keegan. Quite interesting to note that he has not spiked past 5, nothing better than 4 strokes spiked in a major in the last couple of years, but still pretty damn solid, if you do say myself. Like, if he's, if we're looking at what he gets up to in general, there's some massive spike potential over there for him. So
can we highlight real quick how amazing it is, how well he's playing with everything on his plate?
Dude,
it's insane.
Because he's also not necessarily like a dad of teenagers. He's an older dude, but his kids are young,
yes.
And you and I both know this. It's kind of crazy how it goes. So I see Keith in the thing. Yeah, I'm going to bring him in later, but no, he's playing fantastic under the circumstances, man.
Yes. And if you want to bring Keith in now, I'm game, but
okay.
We'll roll through this. I don't want to keep Keith waiting.
All right. Keith is all of a sudden in the show. So hello, Mr. Stewart. Welcome to the party. We are catching you a little off guard. If you're not ready, I can kick you back out again, but Jim wants to say hi.
What's going on, Keith?
Jim, just fresh out of the media center, back to my hotel, and a little back 9 bets with my good friend Byron.
Yeah, baby. We are sipping on some, I think Jim's got a little bit of whiskey. I got some neighborhood beers. I know you've come straight from the media center, so You
Got
are
a bottle
likely
of hotel
strictly
water.
business, as I do expect from you, Keith. But I do know Keith enjoys a good beverage, especially when we're watching the President's Cup, and I am losing bets on the par 3 holes religiously. So when they are on me, they taste even better, right, Keith?
That they do. That they do.
Yes, they do.
I can't wait till Medina.
I will not be there because I do not want to lose all my money. All right, Jim, Harris English. He is next up on your first round leader market, 75-1. I'm going to pull him up here. Chat to us about him.
Yeah, Harris is probably playing some of the best golf of his life. He had that hip injury back in 2022, which pretty much nixed that whole season for him. Had some good form in 2023 and 2024, five top 10s in 2023, 4 top 10s in 2024. But this year is just, he's off to what I think is the best form of his career. He got the win at Torrey at a tough test, 8 under the winning score. And again, this is 75-1. I got this at FanDuel. For any of my followers, I've had people asking about my risk-free bet for the first round leader. I personally bet Keegan for my risk-free, but Harris English at 75-1 is a great first risk-free bet as well. He's playing with Keegan and Tommy. T11 at Philly Cricket, 65 first round leader, or first round. 63 was the first round leader, I believe. 70, 68, 68. So great performance at cricket. He finished 4th at Wingfoot, which was one of my comp courses this week. 68, 70, 72, 73. Spike first round leader, first round score for him. He did okay in 2016, T37, no round in the 60s, but with him playing the best golf of his life, I'm good with the 70, 71, 72, and then a bad Sunday, 76. He's got 2 top 15s at Memorial.
This PGA Championship round, the 4th and final round on Sunday, gained 7 strokes on the field, man. That was an incredible performance. And it wasn't just putting. It was a bit of both. Gained 4 strokes ball striking, 3 strokes with the short game. So he's absolutely live to just kind of absolutely get it done here. And I think he fits his golf course really nicely. I see Keith nodding up top there.
Yeah, man. It just felt wrong to leave him. He was the last one that I added from Fleetwood, Bradley, and himself, and those were my last 3 ads. But it felt wrong to have 2 of the 3 in the group and have him on the initial list and not go with him. So sometimes that's how I land on these guys. Sometimes it's just a feeling. So.
Narrative. Absolutely.
Yeah.
From English to an Englishman, let's go to Matthew Fitzpatrick at 90-1 for first round leader. You've got him each ways as well, I believe. And hit us with the Fitz love.
Yeah, 7 places, not ties in full. Here's a funny little tidbit. I bet Fitz last year at the U.S. Open, and he was 50-1. So I'll also look back at some of these prices from last year and say 50-90. That's gauging my interest. We got some value here. But it just looks like Fitzy's getting into form. It's nothing crazy, but the approach has been good for the last 5 weeks. He showed he could mix at the PGA last month. He's not all over the map like he was last year when he had the weight on his club, on his driver debacle. Yeah, 90-1. When you get past, in this market, when you get past 75-1, you just got to take stands and be confident. Philly Cricket tied 23rd, 68, 70, 68, 68. Consistency, games in a good place. Philly played a little bit easier than I think we would have hoped for and expected. And I don't know if the tour is going back, but I would assume they will. I might have to take a break and y'all talk for a minute and charge my laptop in. But let me finish with Fitz. T8 at the 2025 PGA at Quail a few weeks ago. 68, 68, 72, 72. Awesome. He won at Brookline, which we all know he loved and had it on his radar. 68, 70, 68, 68, -6 winner, tough course, sign me up. And at 2016, he was 21 years old at Oakmont, shot a 73, a 70, a 79, and a 71. I can forgive a 21-year-old newly turned PGA Tour player playing on the tour for the first time, full time, for shooting the 79 on Saturday at Oakmont. So,
amen, buddy. I love it. You take a second there. I'm going to put us out here. I'm going to remove you. I'm going to get me and Keith rocking and rolling. I'm going to pull up nothing. I'm just going to pull up Mr. Stewart. How are you, my friend?
I'm great. Hey, to back up the Matt Fitzpatrick thing, I was looking at leaders in the field for putts inside 10 feet, and he's number 1. So run with that.
And why is that important stat this week, Keith?
Well, I mean, if you've seen these green complexes, then you're going to understand very quickly that you're going to be putting from inside 10 feet a lot, and a lot of times just to save a par. And, I think many people already feel like if you had 72 pars at the start of the week, or, you do pretty good come, you'd probably be in the top 5 come Sunday.
Yes, sir. And, chipping, putting, like you mentioned, you're going to be having your second putt from barely inside 10 feet. We've seen some slippery greens out there. What did you catch a glimpse of the stimp meter today, Keith?
Well, before we get into all that, I have a question for the both of you, because that was why I was raising my hand in the green room. Is that do you guys think that Keegan can play and be captain of the Ryder Cup team?
I think that's a great question. Sorry to jump in, B. I think that's a great question, and I even thought about bringing it up. I think the competitor in Keegan would want to play. Who are the vice captains? Help me out.
Kisner, Snedeker, maybe Stewart Sink. I don't know.
Hand it over to one of those guys, or keep that title by name only, and go dominate. Go kick some ass.
Yeah,
I don't think he can do both.
Okay.
No, he cannot, and he should not, because you are. There's only one person I think that could do that, is Scotty Scheffler, because he's the king of compartmentalization, right? He knows how to keep everything in the box that it needs to be, and I don't think Keegan can. I'd imagine that he didn't he mention that he will only put himself on the team if he plays himself on. He won't take himself if he's number 7 on the list.
Yeah, I don't believe that anymore.
Oh, has he said anything that makes you think he's going to run it back on that, or
yeah,
just kind of.
He made a very loud statement at Quail Hollow when the PGA of America paired him with 2 possibles in McNeely and Novak, and then he smoked them, right? How is he going to pick those 2 guys over himself? How can he do that? How can he unpack the luggage, guys? Like, how can you realistically do it? Now, I'm with you. The reason I was raising my hands in the green room was that because he cannot do – there's no way he can do both. But if he's one of the best 12 American players, by all means, put him on the team and have at it. I mean, the guy played at St. John's, and their home golf course is Bethpage. So, I mean, who's got more experience there than him? Maybe Cam Young or something like that. But at the end of the day, like, there's no – like, even the pairing this week, I'm surprised the USGA didn't put him with somebody that, might be – I guess what? He's with Harris, right?
Yes.
So
Harris and Fleetwood.
Yeah, so that's one guy he's with, right? But I don't need him scouting Fleetwood. Somebody should be scouting Fleetwood for him. I need him scouting these guys that are on this list that is like
Novak and Griffin.
Oh, he should be playing with Griffin, and he should be playing with English. He should be playing with guys like that. I mean, he already played with McNeely and Novak, and he saw that, those guys just aren't there yet, and they can't be chosen unless something dramatic happens between now and we're 75 days away from captain's choices. I mean, it's getting close, guys.
And I think it means too much to Keegan for him to do it. I think he's got the awareness to go all in one or go all in the other.
Oof,
and
I hope you're right.
And we gotta get these guys going. And I think it's gotta be, who are the guys? It's not looking great for the Stars and Stripes. It's Griffin and Novak right now. And as long as we're not playing on a Pete Dye course as a Novak guy, I feel all right with him. And the 2 of them together after Zurich, I love even more. But Griffin's going to play with Scotty because they're going to dominate.
Ooh. I think Griffin, obviously, you know, with the T8 at the PGA, great, memorial. He's shown he can hang. You know, like he played with Scotty and could have melted down. Did not. You know, he just got Scotty, right? Like
it's been said before.
He's a nice player.
Ooh, Scotty or Griffin? Both are.
Griffin. According to Jack, you know, he's a nice player.
Okay, yes. Well, you know, you say some stuff in your elderly years. Jack, I think, probably wishes he never quite said that one over there.
Jack's old, so like any person who's served their time, the filter's gone.
Yeah,
right? And
0 F's given.
And when Jack's sitting there with a guy that reminds him of himself, you know, all these people make comparisons between Tiger and Scotty. There are no comparisons between those two. Scotty is Jack epitomized, right? Like he is death by 1,000 paper cuts. And Jack said it himself in that press room. He's like, yeah, I just know what I need to do, which is enough. And then don't make mistakes and watch everybody else, you know, let them fight the 100-pound gorilla, you know, like forget it. I don't care.
And, you know, the stuff he did say is absolutely true. But I think just the way, like, if he said it 15 years ago, like the exact same concept, he probably would have said it a little more delicately, you know, like he was just like, you know, like my granddad, when we were sitting all at a family lunch right before I came to America, stared me in the eyes while I'm with my girlfriend on my lap and says, long distance does not work in front of you know, like old people do not give a shit. They will just tell you what they feel. So absolutely agree. I think, you know, he's, and Scotty's exactly like Jack. It's just, it's so funny to see, you know, because was Jack like a super power guy, like distance, power, brute force?
Yeah,
he was.
Yeah, he was like a Brooks. He was like,
really?
You know, in his day, yes, he was an elite driver of the golf ball. He would just hit that power fade. I mean, he could do anything with a golf ball, but one of the things he could do with his power was that he could hit the ball so much higher with his long irons than anybody else. And back then with the ball and the technology in the head, that was a huge advantage. And everything's relative distance wise, but that's what Jack was able to do. You know, the old saying, you know, his long irons would land like a butterfly with sore feet. Like that's where that came from. You know, the idea he would just hit these floaters in there with like a 3-iron, and like everybody was like, and then you remember when Tiger came out, he was the best long iron player anyone had ever seen. And that's why that separating skill is so important. But before we get off on another tangent, you've got me here. I'm at Oakmont. If you guys have questions, let me help you out.
Absolutely. We got 2 more first round leader guys to get rid of. And then
before we move on, can I ask Keith one question?
Absolutely.
State of the Union, Ryder Cup, Team USA. How are you feeling? Last few men on that you think we need on, and just gauging the temperature for Bethpage.
I have no idea why we're still favored.
There we go.
I would agree.
I have no idea why we're still favored, and I am as much of a homer as Byron will tell you. Going to the President's Cup with him and punishing him for his
patriotism,
you know, unwavering dedication to the losing side, right? Yep. Par 3 after par 3. He could tell you that story another time. But the U.S. team has serious issues right now, right? I mean, the stalwarts need to have themselves a summer. And, you know, where the European team was in 2021 and they had all these older guys, our guys aren't that old, but they're just kind of Scottied out right now. You know, like these guys on the PGA Tour, they all have Scotty on the brain. Maybe they'll play better when he's on their side. I don't know. But at this point right now, I mean, where at Muirfield, where was Colin? Where was JT? Where was Cantley? Like, where are these guys? Right? Like, no one's pushing this guy. Where's Xander? And it's just all very, very interesting. So I am not bullish on Bethpage at the moment. That being said, we got a long way to go, and you don't want to be great now. You don't want Sepp Straka in January, right? You want to be good in the Tour Championship and then roll right into Bethpage in September.
Appreciate that. I think that's great analysis. And it feels like a boys club. There's ever since everybody jumped for Liv, we don't have any cutthroat guys anymore that are going to come for your neck, except Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah, and he can only win you 1 point at a time. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, I mean, Tiger proved it. There's only so much you can do in team match play.
Yeah,
very
exactly.
difficult.
And if I'm Luke, I'm sending out Bobby Mack first in singles. Just sacrifice that point to Scotty, unless Keegan like starts playing some mind games and kind of puts Scotty down at 3 or something. That's the only way, like you gotta like just take your L on Scotty. But and I think even just the captaincy.
Get back to Oakmont. We can talk about that. Come on. When I'm not on the road, I will come on and talk Ryder Cup for 3 hours.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
I'm in too.
Okay. Hit me right now, my man Jim. We are going Jacob Bridgeman, 125-1. Hit me with the Keith Stewart Ryder Cup take. Nice and quick, nice and succinct. Let's get you the hell out.
And we're gonna get a 2-for-1 here. Bridgman was 125 on Bet Rivers with 7 places. He's playing with Vic Perez and Adam Schenk. That doesn't really matter. And this can be coupled with Ryan Gerard as well. When I started my research a couple weeks ago, I landed on Bridgman. A lot of people in the space are on Gerard, and for good reason. At 100-1, I think he fits the mold. And this all stems back from the 2021 U.S. Amateur. And yes, it's the 2021 U.S. Amateur, but he advanced to the round of 16. And this field I'm going to go through. James Piot eventually won the tournament. Live guy, Asian Tour now. Serious talent coming up through the amateur rank. We've got PGA and DP and Live guys. Ricky Castillo, Jacob Bridgman, Joe Highsmith, Michael Thor Bjornsson, Gerard, Alex Fitzpatrick on the DP, Caleb Surratt on Live. Corn Ferry Tour dudes, Ross Steelman, Mark Getz, Austin Greaser, Parker Cootie, Trent Phillips, Andrew Cozen, Cole Sherwood, Nick Gabrelsick, Davis Chatfield, and some amateurs that were in that field, Gordon Sargent, Vandy Kid, ridiculous talent, and Daniel Summerhays' son, Preston. This field was ridiculous. And I don't go through go back and look at every year's amateur, but this was a field of dudes, and Bridgman advanced the round of 16, eventually losing to Greaser, who was the runner-up to Piot. So,
why did he advance, Jim? Why did he advance at Oakmont? What about Bridgman that made him advance about his game?
Help me here, Keith.
There it is.
Yeah,
there it is.
And he's got a great game, but I think, and Byron and I were talking about this beforehand, the putter's going to be the differentiator. It's not going to be tee to green. A tee to green's going to be
first round. For the first round.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like one round.
Tee to green's going to be important, but it's just.
Well, tee to green is implied. You have to have a baseline, right? So the floor for everyone is that they're going to strike the ball well. What will make them pop and shoot 66 and then lead the tournament on Thursday? And Bridgman has the putter to do it. And he's proven it before based upon what you're telling us from the 2021 U.S. Amateur.
And what I love about Bridgman was his T4 at Cricket a few weeks ago. 71 on Thursday, but 67, 65, 65. He's playing good golf, and I think that's going to roll over to a place at Oakmont where he's got some good vibes,
I think Byron and I wanted him to roll over and win at the Valspar. I know I did. I had that ticket.
That Valspar was something else. But speaking of that Valspar and kind of just completely choking it down the stretch, Jim, your last guy for first round leader is Justin Thomas, 45-1. Hit me, baby.
It's the contentious pick of the week because I've listened to all of Byron's pods this week. I know he's going to miss the cut, but I bet JT 45-1. I actually got it up closer to 60 with a boost. Don't tell BK, but with 7 places, I'm in. I think the new narrative with JT is the Birdie Fest, and I think you're right. I think he succeeds on Birdie Fest, but I think he could do it on courses like this too. I think the variance for JT is certainly high. If he shot a 76 Thursday, I wouldn't be surprised. but I sure as hell wouldn't be surprised if he shot a 66. Let's not forget that this is a 2-time PGA championship. Different setups, but those were won at -8 and -5 respectively. He's a monster. 14 rounds of 62 or lower. It's not going to happen this week, but a good sense of why I like him, the spikeability. T2 at Philly Cricket.
Jim,
67.
here's a quick question for you about JT, right? Right? You love JT, right?
I don't love JT, which is funny. I'm usually on the wrong side of JT. I had Novak at Heritage.
All right. Go on.
If we're just looking, this is my problem with him, is the strokes gain just get worse as we going, down the board. He has easy, medium, hard, hell. This is Justin Thomas since the start of 2024. It just literally, the harder it gets, the worse he plays. It's like, that's my issue. But again, Jim, this is first round leader market. It's totally doable. It's just, I'll kind of rattle off my JT take because it's just he's going to miss the cut at 175 plus 175 because if you want to take a look at what he gets up to when it comes to major golf, like we can filter on this right here, and it is really, really bad when it comes to the off the tee stuff. Like he's losing strokes in that department all the goddamn time. So at this golf course, you cannot do that. I think he's gonna, like, he shot 80 at Jack's Place doing this exact same stuff. And Jack's Place was a little more forgiving, I'd say, out the rough than this week. So that's my take, at least over there.
And to answer your question, Keith, what you love about JT is the approach game. I mean, he's arguably top 3, top 5 in the world. I mean, he's incredible when he's on. And the variant, and he will miss the cut. He's going to shoot a 66 for first round leader, and then he's going to shoot a 78 and miss the cut.
I will gladly take that scenario. Gladly take it.
So, I think at his pedigree, 45-1 at the market price, and me using a profit boost to get him up closer to 60 was why I did it. And I bet it before tee times came out. I probably wouldn't have bet it had I waited for tee times. But here I am.
He's a PM guy.
He is a PM guy playing with negative vibes with another guy that we're betting in props. He's playing with Minwoo and Brooks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're going to be looking for golf balls like all day.
Who had a consortium of people on the range tonight.
Yeah.
Shout out Joe Idoni for posting that pic.
Yeah, we go, friends. Brooks Koepka to miss the cut, plus 130. Those are the two guys. They're playing in the same grouping. They're just going to be like holding hands on the way home on Friday afternoon or Friday morning. They can go have wine on the couch together like he did with Spieth the other time. Like they're going to both miss the cut. And I wouldn't mind parlaying them together.
Well, I was going to say that's the perfect parlay. Give me the trifecta, all 3 of them to miss the cut. See ya.
The entire group. Just yank him off the course.
I saw Minwoo at dinner last night. He looked well fed, and I was like, "Hey, buddy, thanks for Houston. Since then, where the hell have you been?" Right? I mean,
exactly.
We all had him in Houston. That's great, but like the guy has been non-existent since then. And if you're not on this planet, I'm telling you right now, Oakmont is as we start talking about the golf course real quickly, Oakmont is a first shot golf course. So hey, JT could be better than Scotty on approach. But if he doesn't hit the fairway, the only thing he's going to be doing is approaching, laying up. That's it, right? And even that's not easy when you talk about the fact there's 168 bunkers out there. Everyone's looking at all these bunkers. They have no idea what playability is or why all these cross bunkers are there. It's because when you miss the first shot in the rough, that's where you have to lay it up. And it makes it even 10 times harder to do that part, let alone all the speed of the land and the gravity you have to deal with. Even if the place was just flat, it would still be impossible. It's just – JT's a tough pull when, you got to get the ball in play off the tee.
And he's not.
Probably my least favorite click at this point, but I bet it Monday afternoon. So, no regrets, no cash out. The bet's made. We let it ride. Keith, I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
There was a year in a tournament where Leishman won where he missed everywhere, but he missed wide enough where he got away with murder. Do you think there's any chance of that being the case this week, or would that have to be ridiculous 1 in 1,000 luck of just landing where spectators have been?
So
My kids are home. I apologize.
I do a Tuesday afternoon show at Matt Wiley and called the Golf Pro Betting Show, and he asked me a number of great questions this afternoon about my on-course observations. So if you want to hear this more at length, go back and see that on YouTube. But we covered this, because everyone has this argument. Well, Bryson and Rory missed by 30 yards, and if you miss by 10 feet, you're screwed. That's where Scotty misses, and these guys are going to be out where the ground is trampled down. They've had 13 inches of rain in the last 10 weeks. Okay, everywhere is wet other than the good playing surfaces, and the reason being is that because the way that Oakmont keeps their daily agronomic routine is just that, like, the fairways and the greens are so tight all the time that the water almost basically runs off. But the rough is the rough. It's 4.5, 5 inches. Doesn't matter. It could be 3 inches. It's so dense and uniform from all of the growth weather that they've had. I don't care where you are. I mean, it's going to be worse 30 yards off the fairway where the fans are, because it's so soft. You're going to be in a footprint, and you're going to be in this really big, like, mangled, nappy mess. I mean, people are coming up with these reasons to try to pick people, right? Oh, if the guy's 30 yards off the fairway, he'll get lucky. Like, what part of luck ever works in your favor to U.S. Open, right? Go figure out the Wiregrass from last year. That seemed to work well for Scotty. I'm telling you, you have to put the ball in play off the tee. If you're coming up with schemes with which 30 yards off the fairway is why you're going to bet someone, send me the money, right? And then I'll do a longer show.
I'll Venmo it to you, Keith. I apologize, and we'll go from there. Let me wrap up with my JT, and I'll close out and let y'all get to the outrights. JT at Philly Cricket, T2, 66, 67, 66, 67. T8 at the 2020 at Wingfoot, 65 in the first round, and then it got bad. And that's, I'm just going to have to hit the first round, 65, 73, 76, 72. And then shout out to my boy from Ilva Bets and the Casa Fricos, Byron, one of our old group chats. Herb Vargas and I were talking earlier. JT had a spike round at Erin Hills back in 2017. He shot a 63 in the third round. That round he gained nine strokes total, 6 tee to green, 4 ball striking, and I think it was 2 putter. That's the round that I need from JT, but that's the round I think is in the realm of possibility, and hopefully I can victory lap it, but I think we're probably going to get the opposite. But one thing I will say is JT has flipped the putter. He's gained in 7 straight and 8 of the last 10. If he can keep it in the fairway, I think he's got a live chance on Thursday. He's lost on approach in the last 2 events, which I don't love, but 17 straight weeks of gaining on approach before that, dating back to last year's Scottish. I'll play the profile rather than the last 2 weeks. But that's all I've got. Let's
buddy. Thoroughly enjoyed having you on. Yeah. Total chaos situation once we got Keith involved, because I was planning on just doing one of you at the same time, and then you started asking Keith all these questions, which I absolutely love, because I wouldn't have asked those questions.
This is my first pod, and I had this written up a little bit. Like, how sick are we? Byron, you just hit 3rd round leader, 1st round leader.
You just hit Foxy.
Yeah, 3-digit winner. And we don't rest on our laurels. Every week we come back and start all over. TOC to the majors is 33 weeks. TOC to the end of the playoffs is 39 weeks. TOC to the end of the year is 48 weeks. We do this for 49 weeks if we include the Ryder Cup this year. We are psycho. And I got to say, man, I started posting this 1st round leader cards and outrights for fun. And I've gained so many friends in the space, and there are so many smart people in our little corner of X that it's a pleasure. And to see guys like you and Keith and Mayo and Vincenzi just signed his deal with Liv. Being successful, it's just awesome. And there's too many people to even name. There are people that I consider friends where we talk about kids and life and everything in between. I'm just so thankful for you. And I'm glad to be making my debut on a pod with you.
Hey, man, I wouldn't have had it any other way. I figured that you were in the chat last week. I might as well just get you on now so that we can just keep winning. So the lucky charm is going to be rocking and rolling, my man. You crushed it. Didn't even know it was your first pod. I promise you now. We're going to get you a nice camera. We're going to get you nice Wi-Fi. It's going to be all beautiful. And we're going to keep doing this with you. And you're going to do some good stuff, Jim. So I appreciate you being on, my friend. It was an awesome time chatting to you. I'm going to kick you out of here. And then me and Keith are going to close out the show.
Appreciate you guys. Jim. And good to meet you too.
All righty. There goes Jim. First round leader king. Hello, Keith Stewart. It's just you and me now. From your wonderful little hotel room in Pennsylvania. Did you take the highway that rides right through Oakmont to get to your hotel?
I didn't have to on the shuttle. The clubhouse is away from the highway, but to get here, I drove right through the golf course. Yes.
Right through the golf course.
Monday morning. Yes.
That's delightful. All right. So the age-old question that I'm just going to ask you one question about the golf course before we chat about some golfers.
Yeah.
If you had a gun to your head right now and you had a model that you had to make completely off accuracy or distance, where would you lean?
With which part?
Would you pick like golfers that have supreme distance or golfers that have supreme accuracy?
Oh, geez. Gun to my head, I would take accuracy.
And would that
change? If you're just, because you're not qualifying that. Are you saying off the tee? Are you saying that they're great with proximity? Are you saying that
off the tee? With the driver in your hand.
With the driver in your hand, there's going to be more people in the top 20 that are accurate than will be bombers. So, yes, you'd have to take accuracy. Just look at those. Look at the leaderboards of history, right? That spells it out for you.
Yeah, because, I was taking a look at last year's stuff, and it's too obvious. So this is the Model Maniac Patreon friends. Shout out to all of us that are in here. Yes, Oakmont from 2016. DJ was inside the top. Yes, DJ can absolutely nuke it. But he was 18th in the field in driving accuracy. We've got Jim Furyk. We've got Scott Piercy. He's not the most accurate guy in the world this week, but I'd imagine he relies on that to get it done. Shane Lowry. Sergio Garcia was 40th. All of these guys, Kevin Na, Jason Duffner, Zach Johnson, and is this Preston Summerhays or Daniel Summerhays? One of the two getting it done over there. So David Summerhays. There we go.
Sorry, it's 2016. It's Preston's uncle.
Preston's uncle. Yeah. Incredible stuff. Yeah. So I think this week in particular, if I was to choose every single US Open, I would choose distance. But this week, I think accuracy is going to be the predominant factor this week because, like you mentioned, you're going to be hacking it out and then having what? How far from some of the worst lies? These guys are hitting 40-yard shots.
So much of that depends on the hole. Like I was kind of chatting about earlier, like there's all these different bunkers and ditches and they're all in the layup areas. Everyone's like, oh, why is that like 100 yards off the green? Because if you miss the fairway, that is right where you want to lay it up. That's like the perfect distance. And that's what Founds did. And he just kept on evolving these golf holes. And he would watch people play from the back porch at Oakmont. He'd say like, oh, you hit it there and you hit a good shot. Next day, bunker. Everyone's heard the stories. So like this golf course actively fights you back as you are competing against it. And it's like a living, breathing animal. And you would feel that way as you go to play, like it's just, if you have accuracy and distance, well, then you're Scotty Scheffler and that's why you're the favorite. Right.
Or Dustin Johnson, 2016.
DJ was great the other day in his interview on Monday afternoon. And he was asked the question, he goes, how'd you win? He goes, man, I drove the ball as good as I've ever driven in my life, and you could see it in his face. He was like, that was the reason. Cause everywhere from there, he was hitting wedge. And trust me, some guy putted, Zach Blair putted on the first green today from 120 yards. Like it's 488 par 4. They will hit driver wedge, right? Mm-hmm. Gravity is put in places on this golf course where there's extreme length and then it doesn't work out that way, but you still have to fight gravity because it's on the approach. everything's still going away from you, right? It just, you really have to pay attention to the ground game here and getting the ball. It's a first shot golf course. You got to get the ball in play.
Yeah. And, let's just take a peek here. Take a look at the model. We got distance plus accuracy. So basically total driving. I just took the accuracy percentage and made it a whole number so that we can get a fair equation over here. And these are the guys that, surprise, surprise, there's Bryson, which is, Keith, for someone that's as long as he is the longest driver in the field. He's still gaining fairways on the field by 6%. He's hitting 6% more fairways in the field. So do you think, I was Google Earthing, and I don't think he's got enough distance to carry all of the danger around there, because it's like clear through 330. And if he's got 330 in the bag, but man, that's pushing it. He's going to get like buried in the face of bunkers if he just mistimes it a smidgen.
Well, the bigger problem is going to be the control factor. So you could attack as aggressively as you want, but it's not so much that what you carry, it's where it's going to roll out to, right? And I guarantee you there's another problem facing him past that. So strategy, and here's the thing. One of the reasons why Bryson is so good at U.S. Opens is that there aren't many people other than Scotty and him that game plan better for these major championships. Bryson's actually one of the reasons I believe that he's been great at major championships is he uses his extra time to like go through these golf courses with these maps like you do. And then he says like, okay, I need this exact drive here. I need this here. And when I used to work, back in the day at Isleworth, we used to watch Tiger practice. He would do the same thing. He just situationally practices to death. And then you're like hyper prepared for the challenge at hand. And then you're super comfortable with the shots that you need to hit, and then I mean, really, like between the driver and his short game all and around this place, I mean, he's certainly somebody, if you're not betting him, you should be fearful of.
Beautiful. So let's rock and roll right away. I've got a Bryson DeChambeau top 5 plus 160. He's 5 of his last 6 majors he's going for his 5th top 5 now in the last couple majors. So he's absolutely dialed in. And one of the non-top 5s was when he went to the Open Championship, which is not even closely like remotely what Bryson DeChambeau needs to do, right? So this is my little tool that I've built together here using a weighted system. So like if you've won a major, you're getting 10 points. If you've won it, if you finish top 2, you're getting, I think, a certain amount. That graduates to top 10s, top 20s. You're getting like 1 point for a top 20, 2 points for a top 10. But the higher you finish up, the more points you're going to get. And this is based off of the last 18 starts, which have been every single major since 2021. So I've got Scotty Scheffler right up here, and Bryson DeChambeau is starting to move up in the right direction. He's obviously got the one win. Wingfoot was before 2021. So not in there, but he's got 3 top 2s and 5 top 3s. It's just about as good as anyone else outside of Scotty and Rory. Yeah. So, those top 5s are definitely going to be coming in play. Plus 160 at a golf course that, would you imagine like his floor, Keith, is so high because of that driver of his?
I think the floor is super high because of his scrambling and his putting
as well. Yes.
He might, of the guys, I mean, how many guys can win this tournament? 4 or 5, right? Realistically. Sure. How many guys?
Yeah. If you ran it like a simulation 100,000 times. Yeah.
Yeah. He's one of those guys. And what's his superpower? Certainly the driver and certainly his scrambling ability. And you might put him ahead of some of the other guys like Rory or a Rahm or a Scotty based upon how good he is from in and around these greens. And I think you have to really take that into account. And I can't, like, everybody looks at golf through the lens of the way they play it. If you haven't played this place, you just don't understand what the green complexes are like. And you can even watch it on TV. It will look fake, right? But the only comp I can think of are like the green complexes at St. Andrews, but they're not as treacherous. Just the surfaces of them are, but and they're that big. I mean, Gil made that one green 57 yards long, the 15th, 57 yards long. Do the math, right? Like you could have a 100-foot putt over like 6 humps, going straight downhill at 14 on the stimp, right? Like, give the guy 10 balls. He's not going to get half of them inside 5 feet. The randomness of like what's going to happen on these greens if you are not a good lag putter or approach putter is that you're just going to get destroyed, absolutely destroyed. So, you got to have those two skills without a doubt.
Yeah, because I think I've had this philosophy, Keith, that I'm looking for guys that have distance. They're going to need better scrambling, like better around the green play, because if they can get it to the greens out of the rough, there's no way they're keeping it on the green, right? Or in the right spot. So they're going to have to be able to get it together. So someone that I think is going to be in complete control of his golf ball if he plays to his capabilities is Collin Morikawa, right? So I've got him for a top 20 plus 120. Collin Morikawa in majors has been sensational. If we take a look at his top 20 rate, he's finished inside the top 20 13 times in the last 18 majors.
Yeah. I mean, he's like a modern day Jim Furyk. You think he should win more, but he doesn't, but he top 10s the hell out of you. And he's hyper accurate. So, I mean, I can't argue against that. He hasn't been great lately, but he's very good when it gets hard. His accuracy just is very, very good.
Yeah, and I think we're going to lean into that a lot because he is, the second most accurate driver of the golf ball in the field. So it's absolutely going to be, he might not have. His long irons are a little sketchy. From 200 plus, he's not as good as Collin Morikawa used to be. But
yeah, he's not going to hit any long irons.
Why not? He's going to be hitting woods or.
Well, where are the long iron shots? What do you consider a long iron?
Like a five iron from like
or longer?
210, yeah.
Yeah, he'll hit a couple of those. It won't be nearly as many as you think.
So do you think so you mentioned earlier that the course is playing a little firmer where it matters, like on the fairway. So if he's going to be, because I noticed that a lot of those guys that I showed up earlier on the accuracy side of things, they were quite up there with distance too, right? Because if you're hitting the fairway, you're getting some extra roll compared to if you're missing the fairway, it's just stopping right where it lands.
I mean, he's so accurate. He'll hit it down the middle of the fairways. He'll maximize his roll, right? And if you're worried, I mean, I would be worried about 16, that iron shot. That's a long iron shot. And that is a super, super important shot down the stretch. But everyone's worried about this 300-yard par 3. Who cares, right? I mean, that hole might have the smallest variance of score of all 18 of them at the end of the week. Guys are going to make 3s or 4s there. That's it.
Yes.
Right? Because of the way the design of that hole, you have to understand the playability of this place. Like the way that Gill set that hole up, everyone's going to hit some sort of long club down in there. It all filters to the green. You might 3-putt it, make a 4. You might 2-putt it, make a 3. I mean, these guys are good at those shots. Everything filters towards that hole. It's like the other par 3s are far more volatile, for sure. As far as making like 6s, right? Or 5s and 6s. I mean,
risk reward stuff, and there's no reward on that long hole.
You just knock it on the green, 2-putt and walk away. I mean, you hit a great shot, you might make it 2, but everyone's going to make 3s and 4s there. You start going to some of these other holes, and oh man, it could get wild quick.
I'm super excited for this week. I can't tell you. I'm so jealous that you're there as well. By the way.
Oh man, it's. I mean, just get the lawn chair out. I'm telling you.
Oh baby,
it's gonna be good.
Yeah. I can't wait. I really can't. I can't wait for Shane Lowry to break my heart on Sunday because I bet him top 20 for plus 130, Keith. I think, it makes a ton of sense for Shane to kind of make his way around this golf course. We're taking a look at his top 20 rates. 8 of his last 18 have been top 20s, 0 top 2s. I have no idea watching him on a Sunday how he ever won an Open Championship by multiple shots.
Shane's great on hard golf courses. Port Rush was really hard.
Yeah.
And it got harder as the week went on because of the weather. So the harder it gets, the more he keeps the ball in play. And that's why he was leading this tournament in 2016. Everybody forgets in 2016, he didn't finish his third round until Sunday morning. And that's when he had the lead. And then he had to go right back out and play again. Obviously, the pressure got to him of the moment. But the harder the golf course is, the more you want to roll out your consistency guys like Tommy Fleetwood and Shane Lowry. Are they going to win? No, of course not. But if the bets that you're talking about, that's your bread and butter.
Yes, exactly. Because I'm not looking for him to win this tournament. Like the 16th hole, he can make a double on coming down the stretch and go from 8th to T17, whatever it's going to be.
But if he's 12th, he'll just finish 12th.
Exactly.
Because he'll just keep hitting good shots. you know,
Mm-hmm.
and he'll think he's trying to win, but he's not really doing that. He's just hitting shots and he's just going to finish where he's at. You know, same thing with Tommy.
When Shane started his round 5 under through 4, I just knew it wasn't going to finish anywhere close to -5 for the round, even though the course was playing still kind of easy. You know, like he just can't handle it. When he realizes he's in contention, he's like a collision avoider. You know, those sensors at the front of the car. Like it's like the moment he gets close to the front of the lead, it just auto brakes. So
auto brakes. The guy's airbag went off on the 6T. You kidding me? It's like, forget it. Over. I'm here though. Any concerns or anything for your audience they might want to know? Feel free to ask me a question or two. I can hang for like 5 minutes, then I got to run.
Beautiful. Thank you, Keith. What's to say? Killer Keith, not you, the other one. Yeah, feel free to throw Keith any questions you guys may have. I'm going to ask you, Keith, if Russell Henley stands a chance to win this week at 55-1.
To win.
Mm-hmm.
Golly, I again, like Morikawa, I'd be more apt to bet Henley over Morikawa for, what was the placement? Top 20?
Sure. Yes.
Yeah. So I would be more apt to bet Henley for that than Morikawa even right now with their current form. But can Russell Henley win? I just don't see it. I mean, and I'm not trying to be like Debbie Downer or anything like that.
I asked the question. Like, give me an answer.
It's not so much that Russell just has to beat Scotty. He has to beat 4 of the most elite players right now that the game has, and they have distanced themselves so significantly. And you can go right down the list. You know, Xander, oh yeah, he struggled with the driver, except yeah, he won 2 majors last year. Like, and he's got 7 straight like made cuts, or 8 straight made cuts and 7 top 10s in the U.S. Open. Okay, well, like he'd be tough to beat. And then like Rahm, oh, he's got a U.S. Open. He's got 19 top 10s in live events. He's got 19 starts in live events. That T7 that he had at Troon from the bad wave was some of the best golf that I've ever seen recently in a major, right? And that guy seems fired up. Rory, I won't put him in that category. So who knows? Because he's out on walkabout. So congratulations on the Masters. Then you've got Bryson, who's certainly a favorite to win this thing. And then you got death by 1,000 paper cuts. So like Russell just doesn't have to beat one of them. He's got to beat all 4 of them.
Yeah.
And I think his odds could be 100-1. And I just don't see how you just have to make so many putts, you know, like per day. Mm-hmm. I just don't see how it's feasible on these greens versus, you know, everyone keeps talking about distance or accuracy. And even I fall into this trap a little bit talking about the driver, right? Like, I think you really need to be a great approach player here. Yes, there's a caveat there. You have to be in the fairway to use it. But like, if you can't control spin and trajectory, you're going to be all over these greens. And then that's a big problem. That is a huge problem, right? Because you will not be able to 2-putt these things. And again, 72 pars will keep you in it, but you just won't be able to make them, right? And Scotty's superpower is hitting it unbelievably well with his irons. And so, I would pay attention to some of those details for sure.
Yeah, and Scotty, as good as he hits his irons, when he's hitting a bad iron shot, it's landing in the perfectly right place as well.
Yeah, he always misses in the smart spot, you know? I think something that people, you know, I mentioned this afternoon, and go watch that show because I'll go into it more at length. But like, you know, people talk a lot about comp courses and everything. Oakmont's all about the ground game. And what I mean by that is that you have to hit the spots, right? And then let the ball roll out. You have to use the ground over the course of the entire shot in order to get it close. If you just start firing at pins, you'll be done. You'll be absolutely gone come Friday night. And where else do you have to do that? You have to do that in the Open Championship. So I would look very strongly at people that are good over there with their short game, and then who can be similarly creative over here at Oakmont. There's going to be a lot of correlation between those two. And if you look at those leaderboards of the guys that were good, they've all been good in the Open Championship. You know, the top 10s from 07 and 16 for sure.
Ernie
are all great ground game players, you know? Yeah. So if you want somebody like further down the board, like a great example is like, I use this today, Adam Scott. Guy drives it on a frozen rope, and then around the greens, he's just creative and pretty good. Does he make a lot of birdies with the broomstick? No, but he's a really good lag putter with that thing. and then he makes par and he moves on. And that's what you're going to need to be able to do. And the guy at his age, he's pretty patient, you know, like, and you're going to need that patience. You start firing and trying to catch up, then you're just falling right into the trap that Scotty wants you to fall into, or Rahm or anybody like that knows that it's going to take 72 holes to win this thing, not 18, you know, on Thursday.
Yeah. I think JT, as you get out of here, mentioned Scotty lets himself get into contention. He doesn't try, like, Scotty just lands up in contention the way he plays golf. You know, he's never playing bad enough golf that he's out of contention. And then when he's in contention, he's just such a savage. So, I mean, patience.
I've walked so many rounds with him over the last 4 years, Byron, you know that. And like, the worst part is you talk about the compartmentalizing, right? But like, the worst part is that like, he's got the best caddy for him, right? These guys, he's just throwing darts. And then in between, he's like quoting scripture, you know, it's like John 3:16, here we go. You know, like, oh my God, like
it's infuriating.
Yeah. I mean, like,
just drowning in like Greek yogurt. He
shot over par like twice in the last 2 years. And one of them, he was arrested the day before and he didn't have Ted Scott on that Saturday. Like,
yes.
I know everybody wants to bet some plus number on everything. And you and I both believe this, that like money is money. Betting's not about winning. It's about winning money, right? That is what success is measured by. At the end of the year, you want units to the positive side. And you could take Scotty if you think he's going to do really well. And there's a million ways you can bet him. And you can add that up to get to a huge plus number. Yeah, you're going to spend more units, but you're going to make more money because he will probably win. And people come up with all these schemes and everything because like, oh, I don't bet single digit guys. Then don't, right? Like, that's fine. Use your 7-week theory. Do whatever you want to do. But at the end of the day, like it's survival on these weeks, right? Come up with a positive card. Do all the homework that you do, which is what makes you so great. It makes you so valuable. And that's what you do. I mean, I love going there and looking. I look and I see what's happening. I'm like, man, I know that guy's out of it. You know, you sit in that press room and you listen. I mean, you just know.
Did you see Brooksy today, Keith, at all?
I did not. Let me see. When did I see it? Maybe it was this morning. I don't know. I mean, he's just not a serious golfer anymore.
Yeah, I think so.
You know,
beautiful.
I had a phone conversation with Joe Idona the other day, and he's like, "What's up with my man?" I go, "Dude, you just gotta stop. You just
the girl's cheating on you, and you know it. Like, just you gotta let her go.
It's no good.
Oh,
it's no good. You know,
Keith?
And I mean, the numbers don't lie. Like the score. I'm not talking about strokes gained anything. Just look at the score and figure it out.
Yeah, and his demeanor too just doesn't seem right either. Hey, thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate you coming on.
I wish I had more time for you, but
nope.
We could have done
every minute is a blessing to me. So I'm sure everyone in the chat really appreciated you. Hit that like button. Thanks, Keith, for being on here. Go check out all his stuff with Run Pure. Read the line. What else have you got going on, Keith?
I mean, Tuesdays at 3:00. If you love these takes and you want to hear reports from the golf course at all the biggest events, then tune in Tuesday at 3:00. It's Wiley and myself, and he's just like you. He's an expert at asking great questions, and then I just fill everybody in. And it's a DFS. It's a heavy DFS market. It's a heavy betting market, and it's hopefully a little bit entertaining at the same time.
Oh, it's always entertaining when you are on the screen, my friend. Have a fantastic week at the US Open, and send me lots of pictures.
Enjoy it, everybody.
All right.
Peace.
Catch you later. Bye. All right, people. Rapid fire time. Still trying to juggle around the guests and things. You guys wanted them on. I'm still trying to figure out how to host a show with all sorts of other people, especially with two of them. Jim was amazing. Let's get to, and so was Keith, obviously, but we all know that. All right. We're going to get to a couple bets. I'm going to rapid fire these bad boys off to you guys. We're going to cruise through the model as well. I've got family photos that I have to get to you in a little bit, so we've got to get out of here in 9 minutes time. But we're having a good time. Are we having a good time or are we having a good time? Lots of great guests. Yes, Jim, got to say before I left, happy Father's Day to all the dads. Yes, it's going to be a great, great time to go with it. All right. Yes, Justin asking a question about where are all the shots coming from this week. Now, if you are driving the golf ball 200 yards, you're going to be finding 6 shots at least coming from 200 plus. You're going to find 5 from 175 to 200. You're going to find 3 from 150 to 175 and 4 of them coming inside 150. That's basically the general proximities for this week. This is available to you guys in the Model Maniac Patreon. I've got it rocking and rolling there for you guys. I'm going to roll through all these bets, make sure we get all of them done for y'all as we get the hell out of here. These are all first-round leader bets. Justin Rose, 100-1. We know what this man gets up to in first rounds in majors. I think he showed us a little bit of form at the RBC Canadian Open early, went on a complete heater. He has the putting ability to get it done. If we take a look at how do you find Justin Rose in this model, you just grow strokes gained putting, and you take a look over here. Here's Justin Rose for the last little while. He's absolutely dialed in at plus at like a stroke per round. Denny McCarthy just recently outperformed him on the greens lately. So I've also bet Justin Rose at 125-1 to win the tournament. If he can have a career putting year, I know he's just gunning for majors right now. That's all he's looking for. Justin Rose is a guy we're looking to get involved with. These are with placement bets as well. Top fives, however you want to get involved there. Each ways, bet the top fives without finishes, paid in full, or top fives with finishes, paid in full. Justin Rose. We've spoken about the DeChambeau top 5, Colin Morikawa top 20, Shane Lowry top 20, Brooks to Mr. Cut, JT to Mr. Cut. Those are the guys we're kind of looking at there. I've also got Ryan Gerard along with Keith Jim at 110-1 for a first-round leader as well. If you take a look at Ryan Gerard's situation, I'm going to pull him up over here real quick and just show you where he thrives. Here he is over here. And take a look at his round-by-round stuff over the last little while. He's gaining 1.5 strokes in round 1. He's gaining a stroke in round 2. So he's a cut-making beast because he loses all those strokes over the weekend, historically. If we kind of filter here on the last couple of years, you can see it even better. He's gaining even more strokes. In round 1, he's averaging almost 2 strokes per round. So if we click on round 1, all of his spike rounds with the +6s, 2 of those 3 are coming in round 1. So you're going to be finding a lot of good rounds from Ryan Gerard in round 1. Seb Straka, I've bet to win this tournament, and we're going to go first round leader, 50-1 to win the tournament, and 45-1 to finish first round leader. I was using my initials instead of using FRLs to kind of get it figured out there. So we are rocking and rolling in that department with Seb. If we take a look at what Seb Straka gets up to, he's finished second in an Open Championship before. So we're going to find some Seb love in that department. He is one of the greatest iron players in the field right now. He and Scotty Scheffler are pretty much side by side in that department. If we take a look at strokes gained in 2025, he's gaining over a stroke per round in that department. Now, around the greens, he's struggling a little bit, but he's ultra accurate, gaining 8% of fairways on the field and getting it done over there. I think Seb's going to have himself a lot of good looks from the fairway. Like we had Keith mention there, if you are hitting the fairway, you're giving yourself a little extra distance off the tee, and I think that's exactly what you're looking for. We've got Mini Maniac telling us that it's almost time to get the hell out of here. But if you take a look here, there's the top 2 that we found. Seb Straka at the Open Championship. He's got 3 top 20s. I think this is a great venue for him, playing some great golf and doing some great things this year. Moving along to another bet that we have. We've spoken about Russell Henley. That's the thing there. John Rahm, 12-1 is going to be a dude that we're looking at. Maybe if we just close the door, it would help. John Rahm at 12-1. He's got a top 2 in the last couple years. That's a lie. That's Seb Straka. This is the thing, folks. And this is why you see golfers completely lose their game when they have children. Because your life just goes to absolute shambles. When you think you got it in control, it's not. Here's the win market for John Rahm in his last couple majors. He's finished 2 Ws. We've got himself a Masters and a US Open. So he'll be looking for his second US Open this week. When you are taking a look at total driving, we are looking at delightful stuff here. I'm going to unfilter on him because I think being in the fairway, being long down the fairway is fantastic. And if we go distance plus accuracy, here's John Rahm finding himself pretty close to the top of the board. There's only 4 other people that are better total drivers, and Benjamin James is probably leaning on some really small sample sizes. So we'll leave him alone. Neiman is absolutely in the mix this week. He's a great course fit. But if you take a look at what Waco Neiman gets up to, as you can see here, he's pretty dandy around the greens and on the greens in 2025. But if we're taking a look at his overall track record, Rocco Neiman's gaining 0 strokes in the short game department. So that's not what we're looking for there. But Jon Rahm, he's typically a very good long iron player. When I was looking at some data on Rahm, it was nice to see him really get dialed on the short game side of things when we're looking at his last couple starts. We have got short game bonanzas here. Keith was mentioning how important is it this week to have good short game, to have good lag putting, to knock those 10-footers in. From 10 feet and in, you got to make them all. Jon Rahm has been putting and chipping fantastically over the last little while in the last 2 majors. So that's good to see for Rahm. He's, great across the board. He plays hard in hellish courses, pretty damn good too. He's averaging 2 strokes per round on hellish condition courses. Not his best. Dials it up on the easy courses too. But I am a big believer in Jon Rahm's long iron play. I think 12-1 is going to be a great chance for him to get it done over there. So Jon Rahm's going to be the dude we're looking at. I think he's absolutely live. And we love the 12-1 odds because Bryson's 8-7-1 right now. It lets us play these other guys as well. I think Bryson's got a slightly better chance to do this, but I don't think the gap should be 5 points. I think, Rahm could probably be closer to 10-1 if Scotty wasn't in the field this week. So we got that going on over there. Other bets that we've spoken about already. Pretty much it. I think that's pretty much it. A little bit of a chaotic show. I apologize. I felt like it was chaotic, trying to just get through it and get our guys to... Wanted all the information from Jim. He gave us everything. Completely and utterly prepared for the show like I would not expect less. Keith providing us with fantastic stuff from behind the scenes there. So I'm absolutely happy with how it went. So I will be posting all of these plays on X. I've spoken about the outrights even more in depth on the Fantasy Golf Degenerate show. Spoke about a couple fun bets on Pat Mayo's Best Bet show that we had earlier today. Lots of fun with Ben Raza as always. All these tools, if you want even more insight into how these bets got made, how they go about it, join the Model Maniac Patreon. I would love if you guys did that. And as we get the hell out of here, I've got a couple unmatched plays over here on Play Profit X. We've got a Brooks Koepka situation. Here it is right over here. I matched it at plus 130. So I've got that partially matched. We're rocking and rolling over there. The best you can find is this in the market. So if you're looking to get the best numbers out there, Play Profit X is exactly where you want to go. Some other unmatched situations that I have. I must not be logged in. Let's see if we can get ourselves reset here real quick. Unmatched, Colin Morikawa, looking for a plus 130. The best out there is a plus 120. Maybe someone matches that. I think Scotty Scheffler is going to shoot under 71 this week. So I'm saying Scotty Scheffler over 71 is a no at even money. Let's see what happens. We've already spoken about how good Scotty Scheffler's floor is in round 1. This is a great way to take advantage of that because he might not finish inside the top 10, but I do think if he shoots under 71, that probably might happen too. But it's kind of like a mini hedge over there. He has the Bryson number looking for a plus 170 on Play Profit X to finish inside the top 5. We got the Brooksy. We're looking for a plus 140 over there for a little more action, which is getting a little greedy, if I do say so myself. And then another Scotty Scheffler top 5 over here at the U.S. Open. So let's have ourselves a week, friends. I appreciate every single one of you. I will be all on my own next week for the Travelers Championship. Episode 143. Pew, 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 baby. Let's have ourselves an awesome, awesome time at this week's U.S. Open. Enjoy the carnage. Make sure you do all the good stuff before the weekend so that you can just really enjoy hanging out on the couch, having a great time. I'll catch every single one of you guys next week. Catch you later.